Well, hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this live stream. I know we're doing it at an interesting time tonight, but that's okay. If you're live, let me know in the comments. Say hello. Let me know what city, state, or country you're tuning in from. If you're watching me on the replay, put hashtag replay so I can thank you for being here and shout you out. Real quick, if you are a registered dietitian who would like to hire, train, and onboard your first licensed dietitian to run your online group coaching programs, I want you to go to sinamartinchandler.com forward or backslash apply. Go to Sina Martin Chandler backslash apply and learn more about how we may be able to help you. Applications are currently open for my program, Hire Great Help. They close on September 11th. They are going very quickly. We only have 5 spots remaining. So if you would like to learn more about how we may be able to help you hire your first licensed dietitian to run your online group coaching programs, please go put in your application right now. Wanted to make sure I put that out there first before we dig into today's live. This is going to be really, really, really good. So that is a little PSA before we get started. Okay, so tonight's conversation or this video is entitled, you might be watching this a day or night, so whatever time you're watching this. This live stream is titled how to train or training people how to coach in your program when what you've learned is not formal training. Okay, training people how to coach in your program when what you've learned is not formal training. And I definitely have a story for you that is um, very near and dear to me because this is something I live by, something I stand by, something I wholeheartedly support. And that is the fact that this is possible for you, this successful online coaching business, teaching and training other people, more so training other people how to help you run a successful online business, even when you don't have formal training. I'm so passionate about this because not everybody comes into business with the certifications behind their name, right? With the degrees and with the certificates and with the backing. Some people come into this with straight up grit and with straight up drive and just the necessity or the desire or the heart to want to truly be an entrepreneur. That's where I came from, right? And I just want to make sure I really explain and share this with you in this video tonight to help you to understand that you are not the special unicorn that this cannot work for. So if you've been considering hiring a community manager, hiring your first licensed dietitian to help you run your coaching program, but you are hesitant to hire someone to come into your business and help you do such an important job, which is coach your clients through to transformation because you feel like you don't have the credentials, the ability, or the expertise to train them, or you feel like what you've learned was not formal training, therefore something is missing from it in regards to you being able to teach or train it to somebody else. Tune in because I want to really share this story with you. A few years ago, maybe about through four years ago or so, 3 or 4 years ago, I was still very new to building my online coaching business, right? So I unofficially started my business in 2014. If you don't know the story, um, when I started my business, the first thing I ever created was it was a self-love ebook. I started out life coaching, right? And so a few years went by and I made a bunch of different transitions, switched my niches out as we all do. And so around that like 2017, 2018 mark, I really found my stride. That's when I hit my gold, right? Like that was the year. And so that was the year where I really had to start to hire and train people because it was just getting much bigger than me, right? That was my first like 6 figure year. That's when I started hitting my 5 figure months at a time. It was the first time I was ever experiencing growth like that. And that is when I had to start really entertaining the idea of training and hiring people. So there was a period where I put out a particular program that was it was a group coaching program, but back then I didn't know that. and I was running it more like a membership, right? But either way, it was a group coaching program where we came together as a group. We met every week. There was lessons, there was modules, all of that, right? And so what happened was I put the program out. I was planning it, but I put it out almost as a way to like test it to see how it was going to do. Okay. And so when I basically pre-sold it or I released it, the response was like bananas. I mean, the first 30, I remember like the first 30 days, I think we got in maybe 60 people. The first 30 days, 60 people came in. Within the first 60 days, we had over 100 people. Within the first 90 days of the program, we were at full capacity, and the final number was like 164 people. 164 people joined this program, um, by me putting it out almost by accident, because I was kind of testing it, right, to see if it would take off. And so I was not prepared for that in no means, and by no like by no means was I ready to experience that growth that I had by putting out this program. Okay, let's do a little background. I am in no way formally trained in business. I don't have an MBA. Um, I had my first son in my senior year of high school. I was a teenage mom. Okay. Um, I attended three different colleges, not one. I didn't drop out of one. I dropped out of three different colleges because I kept trying to go to school and get my degree and go the route that I was told I needed to go. And it just didn't work out for me that way because I kept having to pause to go to work because I had to provide for my child. And so by no means have what I learned about business been formal. Okay, in no capacity. I did not learn what I know about business formally at all. What I did do, okay, as I was, and this is just giving you a little context and a little backdrop as to how it led up to me having a group program that basically sold out way beyond, it sold out 2 or 3 or 4 times in 90 days. And I wasn't really prepared for that, right? So I'm kind of building a story up for you to see, for you to be able to see like how I came to the point of having to train people how to coach in my program, right? So prior to me basically selling this program out, I had no formal training. But what I did do was, as I was going through my career path and I was trying to find my way in the corporate world, I was testing out so many different jobs, right? As I kept testing out jobs in different careers, not because I was jumping from job to job, even though I did a little bit of that after high school and in my like college years, I really was trying to find my fit. Okay. So as I was attempting to find my fit, what did I do? I always seemed to gravitate towards the entrepreneurs. I always seem to gravitate towards the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the ones who had sold companies multiple times and now they had a business that was basically continuing to help them fund their lifestyle in their retirement. I always gravitated towards the people who were like that. Okay. Backstory, if you guys don't know, go on my Instagram. I shared this a couple of days ago. I come from entrepreneurship. My grandfather was one of the first people to own one of the major gas stations. One of the major gas stations approached my grandfather back in the 60s for him to open one of the first gas stations in Philadelphia. So a lot of that business acumen, he taught that to me. He passed that on down to me, and that really inspired me to create the company that I have now, that I'm building now. So everything I've learned about business has been informal. It's been through word of mouth. It's been through watching entrepreneurs, serial successful entrepreneurs, go through their day-to-day operations. It's been through watching, my grandfather hire contractors, helping people, training people on how to fix up different things at the local church or in his company, right? So everything I've learned has been informal. Nothing has been from a school, from a degree, from a certificate, okay? However, I knew and understood that when I started my coaching business and when it blew up the way it really did, and this is very like relative to you, if you're that dietitian who's in that space right now and your dietitian business is blowing up, people are calling you, the phone's ringing off the hook, the emails can't stop. the emails can't come can't come fast enough, and you're really just experiencing that growth. At some point, you have to tap in and just say, okay, wait, I may not have a certificate behind my name, or what I learned may have not been formal training, but have I seen this situation based on all the experience that I have? Have I seen this before? What would my mentor tell me to do in this situation? At some point, you have to start pulling on it, right? So that's what I did. When 163 people joined my program in 90 days, I had to get into go mode. I had to start pulling on all of the experience, all of the wisdom that was poured into me from my mentors, all of the people in my life, from my grandfather who had that first major gas station in Philadelphia, all the way down to the people who I watched run successful ATM businesses all across Pennsylvania. I had mentors who were running real estate companies all across the country, doing developments in California, building hotels, and they also had successful real estate businesses all throughout Mississippi. I've had business mentors my entire life, even though I don't have an MBA behind my name, or I don't have a degree from a reputable business university. I don't need it. And you don't need it either, okay? Because the experience and what you learned and what's been poured into you up until this point is what continues to make you the successful business owner that you are. So when my group program got that big, I had to sit down and say, okay, as the CEO, as the head coach of this program, how do I begin to coach and train these people on how to coach my clients? First of all, who do I need to hire? Or how do I even go about that process of finding the right people, finding qualified coaches, okay, to come into this training and education company and help me to deliver this curriculum, or help me to deliver this coaching program to these students? So I had to start going through that, and instead of me just giving you like a step 1, step 2, step 3, this is what I did. What I think is more valuable and more important is that it all came out of me leaning into the fact that I knew what to do. And even when I don't know what to do, again, I had mentors, I had people in my life who were very successful in business. And every time they came into situations where they didn't know what to do, they did one or two things. They thought about what a mentor taught them, the education or the knowledge that they already had. They reached out and they asked somebody for help who had done it before. They invested in people who would help them come up with a solution. They got coaches. They had people who were on their mentorship team. And then the next thing was, with the equal amount of weight in the decision, they trusted their decisions as a CEO. So even though you're asking your mentor what you need to do, what needs to be accomplished, I've never done this before, I've never hired another person to help me coach in my program, how do I do it? You're not simply just taking that person's word and running with it like that's gold, like that's the main answer. You are equally trusting your gut as a business owner. Every successful mentor I've had, from my grandfather all the way to the ones I have to this day, trust their gut as CEO. Okay? They make decisions and they face consequences. It's that simple. They make decisions and they face consequences. And if you don't stomach the ability to do that, you're going to struggle very much with hiring or leading anyone, let alone a team. You've got to stomach the fact that you're going to make decisions and face your own consequences. All your decisions are not going to turn out well. Everything you touch your hand on is not going to turn into gold. However, you have to be willing to make decisions and face the consequences of what those decisions are, good or bad. And so me doing that really helped me to do some research around finding qualified coaches to help me coach these 163 clients that I now had to serve out of this program. And so what I did was I really started doing some research. How do you hire qualified people? What do you do? What do you need to look into? Right? And again, I consulted with a couple of my mentors, consulted with a few coaches at the time. And what I didn't know, I just moved on it. I just took action on it. I made the mistakes as I went. I hired the wrong people. I hired people who tried to sabotage the program and tried to turn my clients who were in the coaching program against me. I did all that. But what I didn't do was run from the decisions as a CEO. And that's the one thing you got to remember when you're going through this process. Is like, if you're going to train people how to coach your clients, even if what you don't know, even if the information you've learned is not formal training, you have to be okay with knowing you're going to make mistakes. Everyone you hire is not going to work out. You might hire some coaches to come into your program. They turn out to be snakes. They turn out to be people who are not fit at all to be a part of your business, your small business, the culture of your business, or your team. But the point is, you're not going to learn a damn thing if you don't take action and make the moves. It's just like raising kids, guys. Like, you can't hold your child in a bubble and like constantly preach to them and teach to them, but never let them get out into the real world and actually go through the things themselves. And I'm talking about this because I'm going through this right now with a teenager. You have to let them get out in the world and experience things themselves. They're not really going to learn until they do, because we as humans, we don't really learn things fully until we do them, until we experience them. So it's the same thing with you and training people how to coach your people. You have to just get out there and do it. But if you're sitting on, what I know is not formal training, and I don't have an MBA behind my name, and this isn't really something that, I've done before. I'm still really learning how to coach effectively myself. If you sit on that and you're never getting to the doing of it, you won't even know what works and what doesn't. So, I go through all that, I push through all that, and I basically ended up bringing on like 10 people. Again, mistake number one, I hired way too fast, okay? So I ended up bringing on about 10 people who I thought were good coaches. I thought that they really like complemented the program, and they were going to help me coach from different dynamic perspectives, and then my clients were going to get a lot of value from it. And to some extent, it worked really well. It worked really well in one aspect, and in another it didn't, because like I said, some of the coaches that I brought in, it just turned out to not go well, and then I made a lot of mistakes with the program too. But what I learned from it was that you're allowed to grow as you go. You're allowed to grow as you go. If you're going to train people how to coach your clients, that doesn't mean you have to use the training manual that your exact coach has used, or there isn't like one specific like training manual book that says this is how you coach people to train your clients. This is the only manual you need to go by. You're allowed to create rules. You're allowed to set standards. You're allowed to create your own frameworks for your company. You're allowed to, for example, hire a coach like me and learn my systems and learn my frameworks for training people and coaching people to coach your group clients, and then implement that in your own business. But you have to grow as you go. So that's really what I did. I hired these 10 people in, and the way I did it was, I set certain like criteria. I wrote out the job descriptions. I thought about the personalities that I wanted to work with. And again, these people who were already in my industry, and I thought it was going to be a good fit. Some of them I made mistakes with, some of them I didn't. In some areas I dropped the ball, but I made the hires, brought them in. We had meetings every single week, and I started basically creating the training as I went. I didn't have any like documents set up that were full on trainings and fully explaining how I wanted them to coach and the full system set out. I didn't have any of that in the beginning. I just was growing as I was going. And so this is what I'm saying when I'm saying what you know is not formal training. Sometimes you have to just kind of create it, and you have to take the knowledge that you've been given and the training that you've been blessed with, the wisdom about business that you've been given over the years, and you have to start creating what that training looks like. You have to figure out how to put it into SOPs. You have to figure out how to put it into, training videos and um, delivering it in a way where adults are able to learn it and retain it. And the best way, I think, and one thing that really worked for me was like we did it in bite-sized chunks. So we had certain coaching like calls that we did on certain days of the week. And so we just started with like one specific kind of call. So let's say you had like a Mindset Monday call. And then let's say we did like a call once a month that was a brand new training. So what I did was, instead of trying to build the whole training out for all 10 of my coaches at one time, I said, okay, let's focus on Mindset Monday. Let's focus on Mindset Monday calls. This is how we run Mindset Monday calls. Okay, this is the schedule for who's going to coach the first 4 weeks of Mindset Monday. This is the schedule for who's going to step in if one of our coaches has to call out for the night or somebody gets ill and they can't show up. So we just focused on building the training and the structure for the one type of call. And then once we got that down packed and we ran through that for a couple of weeks, or we kept our eyes on that for about a month, then we moved on to the next thing. And so I built the training for coaching. I built the training for my coaches, right, who were coaching clients in my group program, piece by piece by piece, bit by bit by bit. You may not want to do it like that, but I would really like that. And it works that way because you guys can iron out the kinks as you go. And you don't want clients to feel like you're running one big experiment on them. That's the thing. You don't want clients to feel like you're running one huge experiment on them. You want it to feel like they thought this out. This was well thought out. This experience was like really curated. They really care about us as coaches. You want them to have that experience that's high level. So focus on just building your training one call at a time, one piece at a time, one system at a time, and you grow as you go. And this is how you start training people how to coach, when what you know is not formal training. It's not formal knowledge. Quite frankly, it doesn't have to be formal. And what I love about it not being formal, and what I love about what I know about business and how to run successful online companies, because every company that I've ran that was successful, honestly, that I've ran was online. And so what I love about it is that the fact that it's not formal training is I don't have any gates around me. I don't have any limitations on like how I'm supposed to do things, or my mind being trained and conditioned into like how I think things are supposed to look. Do I still fight those thoughts? Of course, everybody does. Because when you go on your Instagram or when you go on social media, of course you're looking at other companies and other things and you see it. And everybody has those, or you may not, but a lot of us have those thoughts about, wanting to make sure what you're doing is standing out in the marketplace. That's human. But what I mean is I don't have those constraints on me because I wasn't trained in one formal way of doing business. And this is the one thing I've been preaching, and I've been really saying, I don't want to say preaching, but I've been saying this for the last week or two, the last few weeks, is in the health and wellness industry, there is so many constraints that have been placed on how you approach your business because of the framework you've been trained in. And you really have to break that mold, because so many changes are happening in the industry, and really many industries are getting forced to go online. So you can't operate out of the archaic way of what you've been trained to do as a dietitian. You can't operate out of only providing nutrition and dietitian services in person, when literally the entire industry, the world, has been forced to go online because we're in the middle of a pandemic. You have to be able to be fluid. And this starts with you understanding that whether you have formal training or not, even if what you know is not formal, even if you've learned business from cousin Joe, that was way down south in South Carolina somewhere, and you saw Cousin Joe running his own ice cream truck, and that's where you learned your business from. Well, you better take what you learned from Cousin Joe and you better get it popping when you come do your business online. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be formal. What it needs to be is implemented, and that's it. That's it. You can do this. That program taught me so much that I was so blessed to be able to build that program, market that program, experience taking 163 people through an onboarding process, because it taught me it taught me how to tighten up systems. It taught me how to train 10 coaches at one time. It taught me so many mistakes, so many errors I made in that I'm a better CEO and I'm a better person because I went through that. But I never would have did that if I would have held myself hostage by saying I can't train somebody else how to do this because it's not formal. You can do this. You can do this. And now, several years later, I'm back at it again with a program that is amazing. Amazing. I love the work I get to do every single day with the program that I'm building now. So that freedom is possible for you. That reality of being able to explore your creativity as a CEO, explore different ways to not just hire people, but just make the hiring experience enjoyable, right? Like you have the ability to impact somebody's life who is struggling through the job market right now. And you have the ability to train them in a way where they will never forget it because of how you showed up as the CEO and how you showed up as the leader of your organization. Like, we get to impact clients' lives and team members' lives. It's a win-win situation for everybody. So I just want you to keep this in mind, that like that freedom is available to you if you are willing to trust yourself as a decision maker, as the decision maker in your company. So if you want some help around trusting yourself as a CEO, going through the hiring process and being able to find qualified, licensed dietitians in your particular state or the state that you need them licensed in to run your online group coaching programs, if you want to hire or onboard and train your first licensed dietitian to run your online group coaching programs, and you want some help with stepping into those decisions and owning that as a CEO, and really training them even with your informal knowledge that you have, what I want you to do is go to cinamartinchandler.com/apply. Applications for my program Hire Great Help are open right now. We only have 5 spots left. I have to make sure that I can um, make room for the amazing dietitians who are coming into this program, because there are several updates coming to the program, which I'll be sharing those throughout the next couple of weeks. But I want to make sure that like each person gets that full on attention and the full on experience that you deserve once you um, take the leap and make the investment in this program. So go there and submit your application. Applications close September 11th. After this, you will not have an opportunity to work with us again until January of 2022. And also, if you are watching this and you are, for whatever reason, unable to get to the application page, then go ahead and send me a DM. DM the word apply. DM the word apply, and one of my team members will respond to you. And if you are a good fit and we are confident that we can help you, we'll gather your information and then go ahead and send you access to a benchmark assessment. And it's actually a self-assessment, excuse me. We're going to send you access to a self-assessment. The self-assessment will help you to determine where the gaps are in your current online dietitian business and how we will be able to help you fill those gaps so that you can hire, onboard, and train someone to run your group programs. Any questions, please feel free to leave them under this video. Send me a DM with the word apply, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Hey, share this video out with somebody who needs to see this. Share this video out. Make sure you tag them in it. Like this if this was helpful to you. And I can't wait to see what you do with your informal knowledge. All right, talk to you soon. See you for the next one. Bye.